Welcome to There Will Be Analysis. I am Nick Dunn.
I am Josh Christmas.
And we are...
Omega Level. Omega Level, Omega Level, Omega Level.
Omega Level. Omega Level.
Omega Level.
And that's us. Omega Level.
Yep.
So, There Will Be Analysis is going to be an episode that we're going to do weekly. It's weekly episodic. We're going to do every week where we're going to take a film and we're going to analyze and break it down and talk about it, right? It's not a film review and it's not a full-on thesis analysis of a movie.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
no.
It's very much so how we want to break it down and talk about it, right? So 99% of the time, it's going to be things that we enjoy. There's going to be times when we do movies that have just come out or it's a big craze of everyone's talking about this certain thing, so we go and watch it, and we can't guarantee we're going to like everything.
Yeah, there's a chance that we might not like those new movies.
It's going to happen.
Those are the ones that we know, we're not already sure. We haven't seen
Exactly.
it. We're just keeping up, making sure this is what we're talking about. This is popular right now. Let's go ahead and hit it.
Exactly.
But for most of what we're doing, especially from the jump, we're going to discuss our two favorite movies. Mine this week, Nick's next week.
Exactly.
And for this week, the masterpiece, in my opinion, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Matt Reeves.
That is Josh's favorite movie.
Favorite movie.
So, yeah, moving forward, we'll do other movies as well, obviously. But we'll do, things that were popular at the time or that have just come out, there's no guarantee we're going to like anything, really. You know what I mean? There's no guarantee.
No guarantee.
But I don't essentially like wasting my time with something I don't like. I'm very good about filtering out movies I'm not going to like and not watching them. Every year, there's maybe 5 movies I didn't like that I see. And I was interested in those when I watched them.
And they weren't say if we were to give a number, they're not a 1 out of 10 or something.
No, it's like a 4 or 5. It's it wasn't that good.
Didn't meet my expectations, but I did have hopes for it.
Exactly.
Some things you can't control.
We went and watched Holmes and Watson on Christmas, and I didn't really like it that much. I was super interested in it. I thought it looked good, and I wanted to see it. I'm a big fan of Farrell and Riley, so I really wanted to watch it. It just didn't go that way for me. Yeah. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was the worst movie ever made, like some people are saying. It just wasn't that great.
Yeah. There were decent laughs, but it wasn't compared to that of Step Brothers or
it was just
the other guys. It's just not going to hit like that.
So there's those times and that'll happen, but for the most part, 99% of the time, you're going to watch episodes of this show of us talking about things that we enjoy. Because why waste your time being negative and on the negative? I don't have time for that. Yeah. And that's the main reason why I've never done full-on movie reviews. I'm huge into film, and so is Josh. I've been told basically my whole life that I should be a movie reviewer. And I can't do it because I don't care about talking about stuff that I didn't like. I don't want to see her just bash something for 30 minutes. That's just, even though I am about to right now, because Dawn is trash. We'll get into that. But...
And this is where I take my leave. Okay.
Just got his fat little ass. This movie is garbage.
Okay.
Garbage.
I also agree with that.
So let's roll right along into it. So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Josh's #1 movie of all time. He gets so much crap for this being his #1 movie. It is unreal. I love those criticisms of have you seen a movie before the 60s? I don't know. Have you seen movies after the 80s?
That's what I mean.
What is the question
apparently
here?
I'm only allowed to like Citizen Kane and Casablanca.
All About Eve. That's the new one that he got recently. Have you seen All About Eve? It's
man.
I mean, what does it matter, dude? I've seen 12 Angry Men. I've seen Psycho. I've seen 2001. I've seen all these seminal things. I'm a modernist.
Yeah. And you've seen The Godfather, and you found them boring.
The trilogy. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. I like modern film.
It's subjective, you know what I mean? But when 100%. You go into the filmmaking aspect, I don't know how you can watch something like this. Yes, it's a blockbuster. Yes, it's the highest grossing of the 3 movies. Dawn was.
Oh, was it?
It did.
Okay.
War did not have the legs. It did do well, but it didn't gross almost $800 million. Dawn did.
Dawn took that much money in?
760. I might be a little off, but it is in the 700s.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes, dude. It made money.
Matt Reeves out here coming for it.
Matt Reeves is let me take over. The first director, I'm actually blanking on Rise's director, but Matt Reeves came in on the second film.
Yeah, he only
did
did
a
the last
wonderful
2.
job jumping into. If you didn't see the first film, it tells you everything that you kind of need to know leading up into this film. It tells you the virus is starting. It was created by this company. It started spreading over with this, showing this world map, all the little red dots being humans, just slowly but surely starting to dissipate, start to disappear. Humans are getting destroyed by the simian flu that they created.
They themselves
created.
Didn't make this.
They were obviously using it for Alzheimer's medicine. They were helping. That's what the whole big thing was in the first movie. The only thing that you really miss out on is Caesar's relationship with the humans.
Exactly. But they still pepper that in throughout the movie and give you a lot of it.
They really did.
They explain as it goes on, right? So if you come into this movie, you never saw Rise. I wouldn't recommend, but you could easily do so.
Yes.
You could skip
easily.
Rise and watch this
I
one.
wouldn't recommend it.
The only thing you wouldn't get is why does Caesar care so much about humans? And it's because he spends the whole first movie living with a human, being essentially raised and taught human ways by
firstborn
a
of
good
that
human.
gene.
Yeah, and he's the first ape of his kind like that. And he spends his time with a human, knowing humans. You know what I mean? So like, and he spends his time with a good man too. With a good human. He's not a lab rat, and he's not like tortured and like poked at and stuff all the time. You know, like he has a good experience, and he understands as time goes on. Like, oh, they're not all like this.
Well, it's because James
Some humans
Franco
are
character
crap.
broke the rules,
Well,
saw
yeah,
that there was a
definitely
baby,
broke the
said,
rules.
I'm taking this home with
Yeah.
me.
He definitely broke the rules there. So you don't get any of that stuff if you watch this, but as the movie goes on, it peppers those through in different ways, and it even brings Franco's character back into the forefront for a period of time in the movie too.
Interesting about that, I don't know if you know, James Franco did not know he was going to be in that
I knew
movie.
that.
They
He had
asked
no
him,
idea.
Yeah, they asked him. They said, hey, you're going to be in the new Dawn movie. He's like, I am.
He's like, I didn't know that.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
they used stock footage
It's so
from the
great.
first movie.
From the first movie.
That was awesome.
Of
Yeah.
him teaching him sign language, home. It was really cool.
Let's not hit the props. I
Okay,
mean,
you know what?
do whatever you want in your own time. All right, well, we're just
That's
gonna
how
start
I roll.
laying stuff down.
That's how I roll.
Woo! Spider-Man don't like it.
Civil
I can tell you
War
right now,
out of
he don't
nowhere.
like it. He does not like it. He don't like being touched. Oh, and with what you were touching on in the beginning of the movie, it is excellent how they wrap up all the information you need to start this movie in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the credits. It's like it tells you all that stuff, and then bam, cut to a close-up of Caesar's eyes, and then we get a pan out of Caesar showing them all. Oh, not showing, but he's leading them on a hunt.
Everybody's on a
Because
hunt.
apes-
Trees are riddled with apes.
Apes
Every
do
single
eat
one.
meat. They do. Like they're omnivores. They eat meat and they eat vegetables, and that's really cool that they start off showing that. So they're on a hunt. He's leading them on a very humanistic hunt too. They're all very coordinated. They're luring the animals out, grouping them into one place to have them
Waiting
run.
for his call.
Waiting for his call. Dude, it's incredible. Like Caesar's just he's amazing. Like, this movie is trash, but he is great in it.
Okay.
Got him. So thematically, what I got from the movie, right? So the theme of a movie is never, in my opinion, for a movie is never a constant, right? So film is very subjective. Even if a director or a writer writes or directs a movie with the intent of this is the theme, it's very easy to get something else from it for somebody. You know what I mean?
Oh, of
Like
course,
you
yeah.
can take what you want from it. You know, we all see ourselves in what we partake in, you know, like you always see yourself in art, in music and in movies and even in artwork. Like you see glimpses of yourself, you see what your mind can pick up and what you want to see. So for me, I thought that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was heavily about equality. Like that's the entire premise and point of the movie, right? So apes in this movie are not presented. Yes, they're apes, but the way that they're handled and presented by Matt Reeves is they're essentially another race of people. That's essentially what they are. They want the same thing that humans want. They want to feel safe. They want to live in their own like ecosystem and not be bothered and not feel like they always have to fear for their lives. But they also want like the care and the consideration of we're doing our thing, you do your thing. You know what I mean? Like what humans want. Like I don't want to have to come into my home and fear that I'm gonna be murdered every night because someone doesn't like me.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what I
that's
mean?
not
Like,
a feeling anybody
nobody
wants to have.
that,
No.
and humans deal with that all the time. So it makes them like almost another race of people, essentially. You know, so it's about like equality. They want the same things, but it's also about the hatred of indifference. Well, it's all about hatred and the fear of indifference, right? So because the apes are different, people are terrified of them, and people automatically just blame them for the simian flu. It is literally impossible that they could have created a virus and dispersed it. They
Yeah.
cannot create it themselves intentionally. Like they don't have the means.
It was a man-made thing.
Exactly,
And that's
like-
what happened. Yes, the apes can't contract it because they carry it. It's within that.
They're carriers.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
So they
have
always
to
have
have blame on the apes makes no sense, and that just feels, you know, you want to survive. When you're pushed against the wall, you know,
It's
you do
ignorant
whatever.
hatred.
You choose life or death. You're gonna always choose life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're more often than not gonna choose life.
To blame the apes for the virus was racism. That's what it was.
It really
It
is.
was
No,
ignorant
it
hatred and
absolutely is
racism.
racism.
That's exactly what it was. It was bigotry. And they show that through Carver, right? What was his name?
Carver, he is
through
the
Carver.
worst in this movie.
They
Yes.
threw it through Carver, the person that first comes across the apes. He comes across Ash and
Ash and Blue Eyes.
yeah,
They were walking.
Ash
out.
and Blue Eyes
Yep.
are walking, and they were fishing. And he comes across them on his way. They don't make it clear what he's doing. I think he's just scouting ahead. That's what he was doing.
That was their first contact with humans in over 2 winters.
And over 2 winters, right? Yeah, but Carver's like he's with his group. He's just a little farther ahead,
Yep,
so he's
he's a
just
little
kind of
further
scouting.
ahead. Yes.
And they're coming back from fishing, and they come across Carver, and it's immediate fear from Carver, right? Which I get. All he knows is that apes have this virus. I don't want to be infected. Oh God,
That's all
and
they
they
know.
may kill me.
Yeah.
And the apes are afraid as well, but also curious. they're not that old, and if they have memory of human, it would be very
when
small.
they were very young.
Yeah, they wouldn't really have much memory of human at all. 'Cause these are young apes, right? So they're more curious than anything, but they're also afraid. And then he pulls a gun on them, so now they're terrified.
Because I
Oh,
think
God.
Blue Eyes was introduced into this movie.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. He wasn't in the first one.
It
Yeah.
was basically Caesar and the apes that he got when he was at the what was it? Basically the kennel for apes. That's
essentially,
basically the pound.
Yeah. Essentially the ape concentration camp.
And mentioning that, Carver's first reaction, obviously you are in fear for your life, but to shoot him, to immediately shoot an ape. I mean, they didn't really. I mean, he did show his teeth. That is a sign of aggression. But
he showed aggression though after Carver pulled a gun on him, didn't he?
after Carver pointed the gun at him, and then he shot Ash.
Yeah.
Which, for you not knowing the movie, if you don't know, Blue Eyes' best friend.
Yeah.
Also, the son to Rocket, who is also like probably the third most important ape.
Yeah, like
in
Caesar's like
Caesar's council.
Caesar's like second or third most trusted person.
Yes, I'm saying.
Actually, probably his second most trusted.
Maurice is his most
Maurice
trusted.
is the most, and then Rocket, and then Koba. But Koba is because of his like military-esque way about him, right?
And
He's just a good. He's just a good. Brute
general.
force. He's a good brute force.
general.
He's a good brute
Yeah,
force.
exactly.
That's pretty much what he is. And he commands respect because he's so powerful.
And see, that's what I like about this film too, is that something that you don't really take until you watch War, which we'll touch on that at some point, I'm
When
sure.
we get to war, we'll definitely do it.
That Dawn, if you look at it, you view who I think is the greatest protagonist to touch the screen, Caesar.
Malcolm.
He leads his people. Malcolm. He was great in this
Malcolm
film. He
was
was a
great, dude.
great
I mean,
human. And he also
Jason Clarke is always
he had
great.
resemblance to that of James Franco's character. That's why Caesar really had compassion for him.
Yeah, because he could see that he also
sided
was a
with
good
him.
person.
Yes, exactly. He knew that. He said that in his line when they finally went back to Caesar's house, which a nice little nod to the original one. They go back to the exact same house.
Yep,
it's
in San
also
Francisco.
it's also their symbol, which is the window that Caesar looked out of in the first movie. That's awesome. And he says that, Malcolm approaches him and says, "Who is that man?" He said, "It is a good man, like you."
Yeah.
You knew then, you're like, wow, Caesar, like he can't drop that loving a human because he didn't see only hate. He's seen hate, but not directed towards him. He's seen it towards his people.
Exactly.
So as a shepherd, a.k.a. Moses,
True.
Caesar is the Moses of this story. He is
definitely
leading
is.
his people and has these commandments. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not saying he was talked to by a higher power.
Right, yeah.
But he was
But he does
setting
have
rules.
those bases.
Ape, not kill ape.
Exactly,
You know,
that's-
you teach this.
Yeah, don't kill. It's literally thou shalt not kill.
Man,
It's
straight
literally
up,
thou
like,
shalt not
yeah.
kill.
and he tries to convey that apes are family. You know, they're different than humans. He kept saying how different they are from humans, but they still have those tendencies once you gain that intelligence. You know,
And-
because Koba really showed that in this film.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And apes are different, is what he says. Not
Apes
better,
are different,
not worse. They're
Different.
different. To Caesar, apes are not more evolved, and they're not less.
And they're not less.
They're just different. Like I said, it's like a different species or a different race.
different race.
Which I mean, technically, humans and apes are the closest related things, right? They're essentially cousin species, right?
I mean, you've always with the thought of evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that
Apes
comes
evolve-
in.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
So they're already extremely similar as it is. You know what I mean? So for Caesar, they're just different. And talking about like the bigotry and the hatred and stuff, and like that's all Caesar wants is peace. That's literally all he wants.
Yeah, and he
That's-
didn't even
He
think.
even offers that, like to begin with. He's like, "Look, you stay here, we stay there. We're cool."
He had to show a power move, though.
Exactly. He had to show power move to know that, like, hey, you're not gonna come here and wipe us out because he's seen that before.
That's more than
And
a few
that's-
hundred.
All his commune knows is fear of humans, because most of them were experimented on and tortured, and then they taught that to the young ones, like to be afraid of humans, right?
Yep.
Caesar's one of the only ones.
It's a
that
cautious
had
way
good,
of approach. though.
Exactly.
You know, you got. I mean,
He's one of the only ones that has the good experience, but that's also key of why he's the leader, because he's the most compassionate. He's able to see more than one side, which Malcolm too, and it's very telling. And Malcolm's like, when they come back, and Malcolm is talking to Commissioner Gordon, as you were calling him,
Oh, commish.
when he's talking to Gordon about it, and he's telling him, "Hey, there's a bunch of apes up there. What was it like?" He's like, "It was magnificent. It was amazing."
He was immediately blown away.
Immediately, he was like, "This is awesome." He's like, "They spoke. They let us go. They were probably, he knows, they were probably terrified. They didn't attack. They didn't try to hurt him. They're just like, yo, leave. Get out. Get out. We're letting you
done.
leave. We're
Yep.
letting you leave.
Yep.
You can go."
Caesar gave him the opportunity once again, showing compassion,
Exactly.
showing
He showed
mercy,
compassion.
not
And
immediately
Malcolm-
attacking.
And Malcolm saw that.
Yes.
Whereas Carver is just like, "What are you talking about? Look, it was terrifying. We got to go kill them all."
Well, Carver's
Immediate
first experience was shooting an ape.
Exactly. Immediate hatred and bigotry from Carver. Immediately, right? So for me, that's what the theme of the movie is: equality and compassion, and like level-headedness and love, trying to win out over hatred and fear. Which, when I was watching this, it was reminded me, like, it was the way that those bonds tie into the story is 100% what this book I'm writing is about. Like, I'm writing a book, and that's the overall theme of my book is
Oh, brag much?
love prevailing over hatred, which is exactly what Dawn is.
Well, see, those themes I think that you touched
For
on,
me.
I believe I agree with most of them. And I also like that while they're showing the apes evolve, it's mainly Caesar. Most of them are growing. You can see Blue Eyes at one point says his first words in this, and in
Yep.
Caesar's eyes is
And
like
Koba speaks for the first time.
immediate. Yes. Yep. And you can see Caesar's eyes
First
immediately.
and last.
Woo! Ape not kill ape. You Koba not ape. Oh God, gets me every time.
Smack him.
Smack. No, pick up and then drip.
Drip him.
But you see Caesar evolve throughout this entire episode, especially if you've seen Rise. You know, he's more walking with his hands, walking, you know,
And
walking
he's
like a more
the one that does
traditional
the
ape.
most too.
Yes, he walks on his feet.
Only
a
others
lot
do
more
it in his. The only other apes that do that only do it in his presence.
in his presence.
They don't do it when they're not
They
with
don't
him.
do that.
Well,
he's
other than Blue Eyes, but Blue Eyes is his son, so he's raised walking like
And
that.
also
so
born of
Ash
the
does
most
it in Blue Eyes'
important
presence.
gene.
Exactly. And so Ash walks on his hind legs with Blue Eyes.
has with a direct gene from Caesar, which he is the superior ape in
Yeah.
this. You know, you can't fight that. You can't. You know, he was born
Caesar.
from the first ever successful gene, or the first ever. That I think it was FEMA that made this. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's something I can't remember exactly.
But you see him as he grows through this entire episode, how he's walking up more like a human. You
I
know,
love how
he's-
you called it episode because it is. It's part of the trilogy. Like it is a section.
Yeah, it's
It's
an
just the
episode.
middle part.
Episode 2, Dawn, Planet of the Apes. But man, just to see the progression of Caesar, the character, both through this and like the themes that you touched on, I agree with those. You know what I mean? It is about acceptance. It is about peace. He wanted coexistence, but to their knowledge, he hasn't seen him in over 2 years.
They
Two
think-
winters.
they think humans
There
are
were
dead.
10 winters since this happened.
Yeah, it's been
And
10,
then it's been
10
2
years.
without humans.
So they
You
think
know what I
all
mean?
humans are dead. It's just apes now.
Exactly. But they find that Caesar doesn't immediately go into an upright. You know,
He's like, oh, we gotta
there's
kill
no
them all.
uprising. Koba, though,
Immediately.
does.
But
His
all
immediate,
Koba knows
"Let's
is fear
kill."
and hatred
That's
as
all
well.
He said that.
He's
said
just like
he
Carver.
Did not, he only knows hate, nothing else.
He's just like Carver.
And it's hard to break that. You know, that's all you've known. Of course, you're not going to be more accepting of the human race. But that's just going to happen. That's why you need someone like Caesar
Yeah,
to guide
someone
them
who has an
people,
open mind.
who has an open mind and is willing to even work with them. Malcolm comes in there. He came in alone.
Yeah, when he goes back, he goes back alone.
To the den of apes.
We go talk to him.
Not the den of lions. We're
He's like,
talking
"Yo,
den of apes.
I know you said don't come back, but
But let me try. They kept throwing him down. He kept trying to talk to him, and it was wonderful to see that happen too. Because you know, Caesar's always so stoic in this.
Dude, he's
and
awesome.
I love it.
I love how-
every angle they hit with that guy, man.
I love how he's always shot from high.
What do you mean?
He's always above everybody.
Oh, yeah.
He's always
with
shot
the
from
camera
higher.
right below.
Yeah, he's
or
always standing
Caesar.
on higher ground, and to me, that for me it was a symbolism of he's always on a higher moral ground. He's morally higher than all the other apes around him
Oh,
because he's more
absolutely.
open. Not that he's more evolved, but his mind is more open.
mean, he is,
and
though.
he was more open than all the other humans too.
Mm-hmm.
So like almost every time he's presented above higher ground. Except when Koba comes to look for him when they're down there helping the humans clear the wreckage out, he comes walking out from the side, and he's
Arguably
even
the
still
best shot in the movie.
he's even still up on a little lip.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other apes and humans on that level with him, and in that moment in time, those apes are seeing themselves as equals with the humans, and the humans are seeing the same. I love
Great.
that
That's a great
symbolism
take
right
from
there.
that. That's
Yeah.
a great take from that. And can I acknowledge this absolutely brilliant score
Absolutely
by
not.
Michael Giacchino?
Moving on.
Okay, that's why I tried.
Dude, Michael Giacchino is always amazing.
Every time Caesar's on screen, you can see that tone shift. It's more often than not. And I don't want to make a Star Wars reference, but it's
Right.
you know when Vader comes on screen, immediate tone
it's
shift.
like
You know,
Mood's
just
changing.
boom, immediate. But for him, it's lighter. It's coming in like, oh, here's our savior. As you know what I'm saying? I'm not, and it's not religious. I'm just saying
Here's Moses.
he is their Moses.
Yeah,
man.
he
He
is.
is their Moses.
is.
He guides the people, man. I cannot gush. I can just keep gushing about
I'm
this
sure you
movie
could.
if we can.
So for the speaking of like that, so of Caesar performances wise, dude,
Mm-hmm.
Andy Serkis, there is not an argument that can be made, in my opinion, that he doesn't deserve as much awards recognition as possible. That dude is fantastic in all three of these movies, but especially this one in War. Like he anchors and leads a film in a CG motion capture performance. And for me, half the time you're watching it, you're not even like you're not watching CG.
Yeah,
you're
no,
watching
you
this
seriously feel
performer.
Like yeah, exactly. You're not like,
It's amazing.
oh, this is CGI character. No,
No, you're
you
watching
really
this performer.
feel like Andy
It's a-
Serkis is bringing this character
Dude,
to
yes,
life.
it's the same thing
Absolutely.
that I felt with Infinity War, which we'll get to when we talk about that. Like you're watching Josh Brolin just perform, but Andy Serkis is like there is nobody better in the mocap game than him.
No.
The only other person that's even comparably close, in my opinion, is Zoe Saldana, but we only really have one instance of Avatar.
Yeah, we'll
which
see that in 3 other
she
movies.
was so much better than she had any need to be in that movie. Like everyone else was just kind of like she towered. It's just like Serkis in this; he towers above everybody.
Yep.
He's towering above Commissioner
Toby
Gordon
Kebbell
and
did
humans on
wonderful as
screen.
Koba,
Dude,
but
Toby he kills it.
He's a painted
Kills
villain
it.
that becomes
yeah.
bad. You know,
He's a very one-note villain character, but he kills the role. Kills it. And then Jason Clark's essentially a very one-note human as Malcolm,
Man,
but he kills it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought Jason Clark did a wonderful
Commissioner
job.
Gordon kills it. Oldman is just very essentially pretty one-note, but
Old
he
man.
kills it, man.
Yep.
Yeah, the old man. Performances were on point in this movie.
Did
but
not
it's,
care
it's,
for Kerry Russell, though. I
That
know
is
I'm
the
gonna get
one
a lot
that's
of
not
flack
good.
on that. I did not get it like that.
I don't think you should get
Little
flack.
Nightcrawler grew on me, though. He keeps growing on me every time. That's
Little
the guy that
Nightcrawler.
plays Nightcrawler. The kid?
Oh, the kid. Yeah, he was
plays in
good.
the
I
new
liked him.
Days
Yeah,
Man.
you're right. Yeah. He was good. I liked him. But no, yeah, Kerry Russell was just honestly kind of wasted. Like, Matt Reeves cast her because they have a history together. She was in his
Yes.
show Felicity.
Yeah.
Like, I get the connection, but it's like her character was not written very well and she wasn't given enough time.
As I'm saying.
And Matt Reeves, when he came on, he rewrote their script. They already had a script.
Oh, yeah. No.
So I'm assuming
you can tell the tone shift, too, from 1 to 2
he
to 3.
toned the
Yeah.
love story down heavily, and I'm gonna assume, without knowing, that the studio wanted the love story in there, or he just didn't cut. He just cut too much of it out because it wasn't important to him. Which ultimately, the love story between Malcolm and her character isn't important at all. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's what Matt Reeves, and that's why I think I love Matt Reeves. Yeah, I said it. It's on there. In love with
said
the
it.
man. Is that he understood that this is about the apes. This is the
Exactly.
story about the apes. This isn't like, oh, what are the humans going to do now? No, this is
The humans are
about
second
Caesar
nature.
and his second nature.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Got him.
But it's about the apes and the way that, man, that's just the way that he knew to transition into, let's focus on the apes. Let's see how they build. See what they do when this world's like collapsing on them. But to them, it's just now getting created.
Exactly. For
You know what I
humans, the world is collapsing. But for the apes, it's a
With
new
the apes,
world.
it's just beginning.
starting.
It's
Yeah.
a new beginning. It's
Yeah.
a whole new world. Yeah, I just did that.
It's a Caesar point of view.
What's good with you? It's a Caesar point of view. I like that.
Aladdin's already been cast. You're not auditioning.
Back to the score. Michael Giacchino.
Every 2 minutes,
Just
but this
amazing.
Michael Giacchino
I don't
score.
think you guys realize what he's done recently.
Dude, it was a fantastic score, man. It really was. And the direction, Matt Reeves was the 100% the proper person to bring on board
Absolutely
for this freaking movie,
agree.
dude. For this series.
I wish he would have done the first one.
And I do too, man.
know what I mean?
Watching Dawn and War and seeing what he did with those two movies, having seen Cloverfield and what he did with that movie, I
Let Me
don't
In?
know that there was
Sleeper?
a better person ever out there to do Batman.
To do the
new Batman. Look what he did with Dawn and War.
Solo-centric character.
Exactly.
To focus
Look what
on
he did with Dawn and War and with Caesar's character. And imagine what he's going to do with
And tell
Bruce
me
Wayne.
he's not going to build up
It's gonna be
Bruce Wayne and
fantastic,
build a
dude.
god.
It's going to be amazing.
And
I
he
can't
did
wait.
confirm that it's going to be in the DCEU.
Yeah, I just
Whether
saw
or
that,
not
yeah.
that gets cut, you never know nowadays.
I hope it doesn't because it
Especially
should
with
be
Aquaman
involved.
making money.
Almost
Wonder
almost
Woman.
1B, bro. It's almost got a billion.
Past
It's
Wonder
right
Woman
there.
and money.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. But anyways, to go back to this, like his direction is amazing, dude. It's on point. And to be able to direct the way that he did, having to use so much mocap, and I'm assuming a ton of green screen too,
Oh,
and for
man.
everything to come across so perfectly.
Well, they had
really.
a lot of set
What's it-
locations too.
They
Those
did.
trees,
They did.
You know,
They did.
obviously they didn't actually shoot on the Golden Gate Bridge,
Right. Yeah.
but
And no, they did. They shut the whole thing down.
never mind.
Filmed
You're right.
on
They,
it,
they
shut
even
the
had
whole
all
thing
the
down.
vines on the
Yeah.
trees. I mean, it was amazing
But
the
just
amount
the
of
way
money
that he
they
was
went
able
into
to direct this, especially having to direct such a heavy centric mocap film,
Mm.
it was just amazing, dude. And again, that's one reason why I think Avatar is such a great movie because it's all mocap and the way and that's what made Cameron such a great visionary director too.
Mm-hmm.
Is how he's able to do that. And Matt Reeves in this movie proves to me he's right up there on that level too. Like he is a visionary. He is one of the big visionaries of this time, like how Spielberg and Cameron and what's his head, my favorite director of all time, freaking
Wow, Kubrick.
yeah, thank you, Kubrick.
Whoa.
Like,
First off, he just compared Matt Reeves to Kubrick. Yeah,
They-
buddy.
they're
This
the
is-
visionaries
This
of
is
that.
a thing.
They're
and
the
I love it.
visionaries. They're the visionaries of that time, right? So all three of those guys come from the same time frame. They're the visionaries of those time. Like, and Matt Reeves is more than proving himself to be thought of coming into that company,
Especially
like,
if the
what he's
Batman
doing.
trilogy can really
Dude,
take
yeah.
off and really pick up.
Just
I really
speaking
do.
from like a visionary standpoint, not saying like he's as talented as those guys
Yes,
or his
yeah,
movies are just as good as those or whatever. No, nothing like that. But not saying he isn't and he can't be because he absolutely
They are
can
better,
be.
but yes.
But just from a visionary standpoint, like the guy he's amazing. He is a visionary. Like he proves it with these movies.
Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the new 2001 Space Odyssey.
It's the new Godfather. It's the new Casablanca.
What are those movies
it's
when it
Citizen
comes to
Kane.
this?
It's Citizen Caesar.
Citizen Caesar. You heard it here, folks. But man, just every time I see it, it never gets old to me. The progression, like I've said before, Caesar's is my favorite protagonist on the big screen. The way that
think
they were
so.
able to paint a, like you said, one-note villain still conveyed to be like, oh man, I hate Koba, but
I'm actually
I
gonna-
see where he's coming from.
I'm going to challenge you on this real quick. Caesar's not your favorite protagonist.
Who is?
It's not him.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, it's not him. You don't even know yourself. It's a fact. I like
I am
movies.
now
I like movies, and this is a fact. My opinion is factual. He is not your favorite.
All right, never mind. I retract everything I said from this podcast. It's gone. Erase.
Nah, he's trash. Obviously, I hate him.
And then the close, too, that leads up into war. Yes, there's still a time jump from the end of this to war, because, they just...
But it's a perfect
essentially,
segue.
all of humans were almost eradicated in San Fran. That's the last little safe haven they had that they know of. They were just now getting a hold of somebody over, one of the radios
they were
that
able
they don't
to
even
talk
know.
to like a military
Somebody,
person.
exactly,
That was it.
a military person. And
was Woody Harrelson's character.
And which is Woody Harrelson in war, and they obviously have a huge
Movie's so
impact.
brilliant,
yes,
dude. So
it's
brilliant.
really good.
Yeah, better than Dawn. But yeah.
It's the second best of the trilogy.
Third, Rise
But
is the
God,
best.
God forbid they.
First off, none of these hold a candle to the Tim Burton 2001, so I don't know what you're talking about.
thank you. Finally, he gets it. Marky Wahlberg's in this.
Morky Mork.
Come on. There was an ape love scene. We couldn't have it anymore. But if you needed a better one, Matt Reeves did it. You have the birth of their new child who's in war. You know what I mean? A very touching moment. There are scenes in this that don't even have words, but you still have these feelings. You still get hit in the heart.
It's awesome.
Hey, man, it's
and then so much through sign language too. So much of the dialogue is sign language.
Like
It's
60%
genius.
of this film was sign language.
It's genius, dude.
If
It's
not a little
genius.
more. Yeah, it's great.
It's like watching a silent and a foreign film at the same time.
But when serious, they talk. They used words. They show that they are not just apes.
Well,
there's more. They have connection.
And they are just
even
apes.
Malcolm
They're
acknowledged
less
that
than,
too.
But yeah.
Okay, man. You know what? You know what, buddy?
I can't wait till Reeves makes a Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but with dolphins.
Oh my gosh!
He's
And
making an
I will be
Aquaman
there
movie.
day one, mocapping.
So yeah, Matt Reeves, visionary, amazing director. I love him.
Absolutely shocked me with those. I've seen a couple of his movies before Dawn, but Dawn really, that solidified it. Then he followed up with War to have a wonderful conclusion.
And what
to
was that good for?
Well, that movie still breaks me, but I love it. It's an
It's good
absolute
for
movie.
absolutely nothing.
What is War good for?
Nothing.
Yeah, you said it.
Absolutely nothing.
That is great.
That is great. Omega Level is proudly sponsored by Ink or Dye Studios, a unique combination of a tattoo parlor and hair salon. Located at 270 North Dakota Street by Flanagan's, Ink or Dye Studios employs the best artists and stylists around. Boasting a friendly atmosphere, helpful, talented, and incredibly creative staff, Ink or Dye Studios is the only tattoo shop and hair salon you'll ever need. Stop in, call, or contact them through their social media accounts today to set up an appointment. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Obviously, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Josh's favorite movie of all time. He loves that movie. I think it's a fantastic movie. I love it. Well worth your time, period. That's what I think. It's a good movie.
Absolutely.
Really
I
good.
do recommend watching Rise, but if you don't watch Rise, you will not completely be lost for Dawn.
Not
You'll
absolutely
still see that.
necessary, but I think it's very helpful in understanding Caesar and who he is as a character.
Yep. See where he comes from and see why he does the things he does, and it's for good reason.
And Rise is worth watching too. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's just the absolute
Just
difference
following it up with Dawn
between
and War,
Rise
though.
and Dawn is just it's a whole nother level of filmmaking.
Yeah, it really
It's a whole
is.
nother level.
And there's not that drop off for Dawn. War is oddly enough my second favorite movie of all time. But there's not that big drop
This
off.
guy's just never seen All About Eve. I can't believe it.
I'm a blockbuster whore. What can I say?
Check us out on all of our social medias. We are on Facebook as Omega Level Podcast. We're on Instagram as Omega_Level_Podcast. We're on Twitter as @Omega Level PCast. We're on YouTube as Omega Level. And we're on the Anchor app as Omega Level as well. Make sure you hit up all of our social medias. We appreciate you tuning in to There Will Be Analysis. Make sure you tune in every week, every day, every time that we're on. And you love the show. Don't deny it.
You can't deny it.
Nope.
Nick's the worst.
It's a fact.